How's it going, neighbors? This is Ed here with etrailer.com, and we're taking a look at the Glacier Chains, cable chains for our 2024 Subaru Outback. So in general, when you're adding traction devices to your vehicle, this is gonna allow you to get the traction you need when you're in those less than ideal conditions. When it comes to cable chains, that's usually gonna be something that's more like in your trunk so you can be compliant with the state law, but something that's kind of like in an emergency better than having nothing. So we're going to take a closer look at the cable chains and see how they work on our Subaru. Our wheel today is a 225/65 R17, and according to the Subaru manual, they don't suggest that you use tire chains or any type of traction device at all. But if you do, they suggest to put it on the front axle and that you make sure it's S-Class compatible. And our cable chains here are S-compatible. And as far as what I feel and from the fit on them, they're gonna clear everything behind the tire and the wheel well. As long as you're driving at speeds appropriate for tire chains, you should be fine with this product and clearing everything behind the wheel. So we're gonna take a closer look at the cable chain itself. Behind it is one solid cable that's similar to the front, that's braided stainless, and that's going to be the foundation of the entire system. And then you're going to have these low carbon hardened steel rollers that are going to hold up against the elements and get you an additional bite into ice, well, light ice and snow to help keep you on your track. On the exterior, the rubber adjuster is not included, but this is something I strongly suggest to keep those treads on top of the treads to keep you on your course. Now, installation with this one is super easy. It only requires a couple steps, and I'll show you how to get it done. Installation on your chains are super easy. It's always a great idea to get an idea of how they go on before you actually need them in a controlled environment. You just want to make sure you don't have any twists in the cable and that you have your tire side down for when you drape it across your tire. You can kind of see right here is stamped tire side. And we're just going to grab this guy, being cautious of our paint and our rim, and just drape it over. Now I found that if you give yourself a little bit more of the chain behind the wheel, it makes that connection a lot easier to make. So we're going to get everything situated behind the tire and we'll get under the car and make our connect. Now our connections are going to be made between this bracket here and the square on the end of our chain. You can see these guys are just going to hook on the inside of that bracket. You may not be able to see it with my hand making that connection, but I want to show it to you so you can see how it goes together. And once we have that secured, we're going to move on to the front and make the same connection. Now that we made our rear connection, we're going to pull our chains forward just to get that slack that we have behind the tire towards the front. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our square connector, run it through our bracket, and get some tension on there. We just keep that additional. Like in this space, we're not really reaching out to a point where we're going to have the extra slack. Yeah, we can get a little bit more in there. And we'll connect there. Now you can see we are on top of our tread, but it's still a little bit loose. What I would suggest here is to get a rubber tensioner, and that's going to help secure your cables on top of your tread. Now we're going to take our tensioner, and we're just going to kind of do it how you do your lug nuts. We're going to go from end to end, making sure our hooks are pointing away from our tire, because we don't want that pressing against the rubber. And we're just going to get that additional tension. So from here, you're going to do the same thing on the driver's side, and you're going to roll forward a little bit, and that's going to, and then make any necessary adjustments. Your cable chains are going to arrive in this bag that's water resistant and pretty tight, nice and compact in the back of the vehicle. I usually suggest making tire chains a part of a cold weather kit that has a pad and some gloves because you have to get on the ground and make your connections. But as far as the cable chains for a solution, I think these guys are great if you're kind of in a situation where you just are required to have them in your car and you're probably not going to use them. If you're going to get any kind of active use, I would suggest going with some actual chains that have links to give you better traction. But as far as a security measure or something to have in your vehicle, I think it'll work great. So again, this is Ed with etrailer.com, taking a look at the Glacier Chains, cable chains on our 2024 Subaru Outback Wilderness. Have a great day.